What's up guys, Matt back again with another video, and today we're going to rank every single Solid Edge Works figure that's been released so far. Before we dive into the video, please remember to subscribe and hit the bell, like the video, comment your thoughts down below for us to discuss, follow me on my socials, and consider becoming a YouTube member to enter into our monthly giveaways and Discord server so our community can help you on your Dragon Ball figure collecting journey. Alright, so obviously this might be a little bit early of a video since we have plenty more Solid Edge Works coming down the line. There's Majin Buu, which is actually still on his way in the mail. I'll be reviewing him soon. There's the Ginyu Force, there's Cell, there's the androids that are coming. So Solid Edge Works seems to be sticking around for a while, but I still wanted to rank every Solid Edge Works that's been released so far, as I've finally caught up to every single Solid Edge Works. You can catch the reviews for all the Solid Edge Works figures on my channel. But yeah, let us actually get started. I'm not gonna rank them from last to first, mostly because there are so many Solid Edge Works, but I think it would be a lot more interesting if we ranked them in like an actual tier list. So S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, and D tier. Now, I'm trying to think how I will rank this. S tier, I think I'm just going to put it in a vacuum, right? So S tier does not essentially mean like if I ranked an Ichiban Kuji as an S tier, that doesn't mean that this is like the same type of like ranking. So just keep that in mind. This is a tier list for Solid Edge Works itself, like an S tier within Solid Edge Works, if that makes sense. So let's start with the very first release. It was Son Goku, his base and his Super Saiyan form. I'm gonna go and put these here in D tier. And I think I will put the base above the Super Saiyan form. So this will be ordered. Man, it was a while ago. I think it was 2021 or 2022 that these started coming out. And man, at first glance, I was like, oh, these could be like pretty good. Like they've got shading and, you know, they look to be a good size. So let's check them out. And then when they started coming out, man, like, ooh boy, it was pretty ugly. They were really bad, balancing issues. Goku's face is just so terrible. The support is not good. Goku's got a hard lean. Yeah, he's painted and shaded like pretty okay, but it's inexcusable. You know my opinion, guys. If you ruin a figure's face, it's almost hard to justify the rest of the figure. There are some isolated incidents where that's fine, but like 99% of the time, it always ends up being really bad. So I'm going to put the Solid Edge Works Goku in D tier. I'm hoping that they take a stab at Goku again in the future. I'm also going to put Trunks. I'm actually going to put Trunks in C tier. Now, he has a lot of the same issues that the Solid Edge Works Goku has. Maybe not quite as many, arguably, but you know, just a little bit better, but barely. So Trunks, his forehead is so big, dude. His forehead is so big. The way that they made his hair for his base form is also kind of awkward, but you know, he still has that shading. He's got a decent size to him. The Super Saiyan, I think, is a little bit better than the base form, just slightly, but they're still pretty much in the same category, man. It just kind of suffers from a lot of what you're going to see in Solid Edge Works, where Solid Edge Works, you know, there's always like one thing that's wrong with a figure. Early on, it was just like a whole bunch of things. So, yeah, definitely not as bad as Goku, but still pretty terrible, all things considered. And you know who else is pretty terrible? I'm gonna put Vegeta in D tier. Is he worse than Goku? Yeah, he is. He is worse than Goku. The base form is a little bit better than the Super Saiyan. There's a lot that's just weird about this figure, man. His hair is just sculpted wrong. Like, it just doesn't look like Vegeta's hair shape at all. He has the same leaning issues that the Goku has. His face is not great. It's not awful, but it's not great. Yeah, just a lot of the same issues that Goku has. I'm assuming that like this batch of figures was made all together, because man, they suffer from a lot of the same issues. Yeah, I don't know. The biggest thing about this Vegeta is the freaking hair that throws me off. Like, it's like it's like a freaking, I don't know, a flower. It's like too spread out, and there's not enough volume. So it just looks like a bunch of random spikes on the back of his head. It's like he's friggin' Sonic the Hedgehog or something in here. So it could have been done a lot better, man. Solid Edge Works could have been like the new Maximatic or something, but there's a bunch of stinkers. Let's move on. I'm actually going to put Vegito in B tier. I think he's okay. I think the biggest thing that was an issue with this figure was kind of his sculpt. He's like very boxy. Like I think I made fun of him in my review where he looks like the mob I threw up kind of meme. His face is okay. His hair is sculpted pretty nicely. He's got paint and shading, which is pretty nice to see. And he's a good size. It's just that his proportions and the way that his upper body mostly is built looks very awkward. So he is a little bit of a standout, in my opinion, compared to the former Solid Edge Works figures that we've talked about here. But, you know, essentially he's you know, not all that great, in my opinion. So I think B tier is a pretty comfortable place. He's just kind of mid, you know, he's fine. He definitely stands out. Like, I think when you look at him, he's like, you know, is he is he C tier? No, he's B tier. I'm going to keep him in B tier. I think that's a good place for him. I'm going to keep him there. The next one I think is also a B tier, maybe like a high B, and it would be Teen Gohan. I didn't review the Super Saiyan 2 when he came out. You know what? Actually, I'm going to put him in A tier because he actually has paint and shading. Let's go ahead and do this, actually. I'm actually going to put these in B tier and his former version in A tier. So the A tier, they had shading. The blood, you can even see it in the picture right there. The blood on his face is a lot more noticeable. There's a little bit more detail when it comes to the Teen Gohan figure. I think the only big issue with them is that they're not huge, very great to scale. But they balanced well. They had shading on his gi. They had shading on his skin. They had more blood. They had shading on his hair. It was a very, very good release. You can see it in the difference between both of the pictures on the screen right now. I don't know why with the BoJack release, they decided to dial that back, lessen the shading. His gi has no shading. The only shading on the figure is on his skin. His hair has no shading. He has less blood on his face. Just a very, very weird way to go about doing this. So I do think that the original Solid Edge Works Teen Gohan from the Cell Saga is much better than the BoJack one. I think the only reason people would pick up the BoJack one is because they're unique. We don't really have BoJack Gohan figures at all. I mentioned in my review, I think it would have been more interesting if they had gone with the base form Gohan, because characters with black hair in that movie have like a hint of blue shading, which I thought was just a really unique color choice for that film. Like Mr. Satan has it, Goku has it. It's all throughout the film. So I think it looks really cool. But yeah, it just kind of shows like, hey, we recycled this figure, but we made it worse. Like that's a little whack, bro. But I think that the original was kind of the beginning of when Solid Edge Works started to become pretty decent for the most part. I still feel like they have some inconsistencies, but let's move on. I think the next one, Gotenks, is also B tier. And I would say, do I like them better than the Teen Gohan? Yeah, I do like them a little bit better than the Teen Gohan, simply because they're unique, they're not a recycle, and they actually have like some interesting things to talk about. I think the fact that it's them in their position when they're fighting, you know, Super Buu in the Room of Spirit and Time is pretty cool. It's a great reference. Whereas, you know, a lot of these Solid Edge Works figures aren't referencing much, at least to this point. You know, they're all just kind of walking forward, which was weird. But this one is actually referencing the manga. And I thought that was a really cool choice. And the way that they did his support for his feet, it's kind of like this single mold that you attach to both feet. So I thought that was a pretty interesting way to position this figure. He is a bit on the smaller side, but hey, it's a Crane figure, so what are you going to do? Moving on, I think the Gogeta is A tier. I think the Super Saiyan is the better one of both figures because the blue has like some weird faded coloring for his eyes. Not sure why they decided to go in that direction because it contrasts pretty noticeably with his eyebrows and his hair, which is a very like bright blue, whereas his eyes are very dull. Don't know why they did that. But you know, it is what it is. I think the Super Saiyan is a little bit more superior. This is when Solid Edge Works. I think maybe Gotenks might have started this trend, but this was around the time that Solid Edge Works, I think, started to cheapen out. Yeah, no shading. The figure started to get a little smaller, so like Gogeta's not going to scale with like the Goku and Vegeta that were originally released. But I think it's a solid figure. The pose is cool. You know, he's in his pose from the Broly movie where he's fighting him. He's got a decent likeness, I'll say that much, and you know, the details on his muscles and everything is pretty cool. I think really the only area that kind of sucks is that he doesn't really have shading, but I think he's a pretty solid figure. I would say he's A tier, one of the better Solid Edge Works figures in this set. So I would argue that any figure that's A tier or higher is probably worth buying. I would also rank Goku Black as an A tier figure. I think he has a lot of the same qualities as Gogeta, which is, you know, pretty solid. Likeness, I think his base form looks a little bit better than his Rosé form, if I remember correctly. But, you know, they're essentially the same figure. No shading. The size is pretty decent for a Crane figure. And, you know, they look pretty cool. It's a very unique pose for Goku with his arms out, like the holy man himself, instead of like, you know, just simply walking forward and like adjusting his sleeves or something. But yeah, I think Goku Black is solid. We don't get enough Goku Black figures, so I think it's pretty cool that we have a kind of unique character. Still a Saiyan though, and we'll get there. They started to stop doing the Saiyans for the most part. But yeah, Goku Black is a fan favorite character. I'm glad that he's in Solid Edge Works. One of the better Solid Edge Works figures, in my opinion. Now, finally, we're in S tier. Oh yeah, bro. Trunks is incredible. This is easily the best Solid Edge Works figure that they've released so far. What can I say about it that I haven't said in my review? He's got shading all over. He's a really great size. The sculpt has a ton of detail. His likeness is incredible. He's one of the best Trunks figures, period. It's just a shame that he doesn't scale with Ichiban Kuji. Like, if he scaled with Ichiban Kuji, I would be tempted to just like kind of have him in my main collection, but he doesn't. He's still a little too small compared to a Master Lee's figure. But wow, he's really cool. I like the way his hair looks. I like the way his face looks. The sculpt, really cool pose. Great reference to the manga before he goes and kills the androids in his future. Excellent job with this figure. Oh boy. Okay, so this is probably going to be the first one that shifts. So I'm going to put base Vegeta. I'm going to put him right here at the top of A tier. I'm going to put Majin Vegeta. I'm going to put him down here at the bottom of C tier. Yeah, I'm going to put him down there at the bottom of C tier. Let's talk about base Vegeta. He looks really great. His face, perfect. I love the reference to his pose when King Yama basically calls him and Baba up to send him back to Earth to have a rematch with Majin Buu. Really great reference. You know, just having his two fingers on his waist is just kind of like, I'm like, that's that part. Would have been even better if he had a halo with him just to make it even more different, but it is what it is. The sculpt is really solid, man. I know he has no shading, but the color choices that they chose for his jumpsuit and his deep black hair is really great. His likeness is absolutely stunning. He is also in my favorite outfit for Vegeta, so I'm a little biased there, and he's just really good. Now, Majin Vegeta, he has a really good sculpt. His colors are great and all that, but Oh, they ruined his face. Like, and I've seen some bad QC issues with that one too. Like, I have some members in my Discord who have shown me their Majin Vegeta outside of the one that I reviewed, and like his teeth were sticking out and everything. So don't know what happened there, but wow, this one's kind of bad. It's just a little distracting. I don't know why they didn't angle his mouth well enough and position his mouth and nose well enough. It just kind of ruins most of the figure for me. I'm not going to be super hard on it and put it in D tier, but he does not deserve anything higher than bottom of C tier, in my opinion. We've also gotten so many Majin Vegeta, man. Like, I like the reference to the manga and everything, but enough. Enough Majin Vegeta. There's other iterations of Vegeta that need love. Moving on, I think that Trunks, once again, is C tier. And I think his Super Saiyan 1 is a little bit better than the base form one. Really cool figure. Doesn't have shading, unfortunately. And I think is a little smaller to scale compared to the other Solid Edge Works Trunks that's in S tier. Man, and like I said in my reviews, someone at Bandai who works on Solid Edge Works really likes Trunks. But yeah, he's pretty good. The sculpt is awesome. Another reference to the BoJack movie, which is super cool to see. It's a look that we don't see that often for Trunks, and I know for a fact it's a fan favorite look for Trunks because he's got his sleeves ripped off. He looks really masculine, very cool. This is the version of Trunks that people really love when they think about future Trunks. Piccolo. Piccolo was interesting. My biggest issue was his face, not so great, and his proportions, kind of odd. Really brought the figure down for me. I also thought the choice of making his cape his support just kind of strange. So I don't really know what to do. I'm kind of caught between C and B. I think I will put him in B tier. He's not the worst thing in the world. Like, his likeness isn't as bad as Majin Vegeta or any of the other bottom tier figures, but it could have been a lot better. I might be being a little too nice when I do this, but I'm going to put him, I think I'm going to put him right here. And I think I actually prefer him without the turban, even though the turban on his head is very unique. And, you know, seeing him throw the cape back, it's more fitting for the figure itself, but he just looks a little bit better with the turban off for this Solid Edge Works release and him cracking his knuckles. So I think it's a little bit better than the other one, in my opinion. Beast Gohan. Beast Gohan, I think, is pretty good. I would maybe put him right here. Maybe like right here for Ultimate Gohan. And then the Beast form isn't bad. I think I would maybe... Yeah, I'll put him right there with Gohan. It's a little hard to separate them just because they're so similar. Ultimate Gohan reminds me a little bit of the Vegeta in A tier, the base form Vegeta. Pretty solid, like good colors, good likeness, really solid work on his pose and everything. I know he's walking forward, but looks pretty good on him. The Beast Gohan, the only thing that I have an issue with is I don't think they made his hair big enough, funny enough. And his face looks a little off, but I think that's really just a little bit of a nitpick. He's still a really solid pick for Solid Edge Works if you wanted to pick up a figure like that. And then finally, we have Frieza-sama. Frieza-sama is going to go, I think, right here at the top of B tier. I had a few issues with this thing. I felt, though, his face was just very off. He definitely has a little bit of a lean when you position him. The way that they structured his sculpt, where you have to balance him off of his tail, was a very odd choice, in my opinion. And yeah, I think they could have done a better job. He also is either too big or too small next to certain characters within Solid Edge Works. So that's just an issue that Bandai has across a lot of their Crane figures, man, where a majority of them are just not made to scale. So it's very hard if you're a collector. It's like, I want to collect all the Solid Edge Works and put them together, and then they just kind of look weird having like this giant Frieza next to like Goku or something. It just looks weird. But yeah, I think this is my solid Edgeworks tier list, excuse me. And yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with it. Like I said, I think the figures in A tier and above, if you're open to buying Crane figures or you like Solid Edge Works, probably the ones that are worth buying. But otherwise, I think most of Solid Edge Works is mid at best or worse. Definitely the early iterations of Solid Edge Works. But yeah, a lot of these coming out, there could be a change. Like the Ginyu Force looks really cool. Majin Buu, still not sure. That we'll figure that out. Cell, I'm not too hot about personally. Android 17, who's not on this list right now, but will be eventually. Looks pretty cool, but I'll save my opinions on them when they release. I review them, and I don't know, maybe I'll do another Solid Edge Works tier list in a year. Or maybe I'll do another Solid Edge Works tier list when it's all over. But let me know down in the comments what you think. Let me know your tier list for Solid Edge Works. Yeah, but let me know down in the comments. By the way, guys, I do have merch on the channel. If you want to go pick up some merch, I have t-shirts, hoodies, tote bags, mugs, anything that you can think of. Even stickers are on there of designs that were made by the creator of Dragon Ball Deliverance. So if you want to go pick some up, please go ahead. You can check out the shop tab on my YouTube channel to help support me. I'd really appreciate it if you pick something up and, you know, tag me on social media with you wearing it or using it or something. I would love to see that, but I thank you guys for your support. But until the next video, guys, I will see you all later.